In the dead of winter, 1692, a spectre of fear and superstition swept through the small Puritan community of Salem Village, Massachusetts. This eerie tale begins with two young girls, Betty Paris and Abigail Williams, who started displaying peculiar and unexplainable behavior. Their convulsions, strange outbursts, and mysterious afflictions baffled everyone. The village doctor, unable to find a medical explanation, suggested the unthinkable: witchcraft. This diagnosis, though shocking, found fertile ground in the socio-political climate of the time. Salem was a community on edge, riddled with internal disputes, fear of Native American attacks, and anxiety about the devil and the supernatural. The Puritans were deeply religious people who saw the world in terms of good versus evil. The notion of witches living amongst them, practicing dark arts, was terrifying yet plausible. As the villagers sought answers, the finger-pointing began, igniting a spark that would soon engulf Salem in a blaze of hysteria. With the stage set, the whispered accusations grew louder, turning neighbor against neighbor. The tension was palpable, and the Salem Witch Trials were about to take a dark turn. Key players in this unfolding drama were a group of girls who came to be known as the Afflicted. Among them were Betty Paris, Abigail Williams, and Ann Putnam Jr. These young girls began accusing others of witchcraft, their allegations often fueled by fear, hysteria, and perhaps manipulation. Their first targets were three women of Salem: Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba. Sarah Good, a homeless woman, was an easy target, her poverty and ill fame making her a convenient scapegoat. Sarah Osborne, elderly and bedridden, was no less vulnerable. Lastly, Tituba, an enslaved woman, was accused, her tales of voodoo and witchcraft making her a prime suspect in the eyes of the frightened townsfolk. The trials that followed were anything but fair. The concept of innocent until proven guilty was flipped on its head. Instead, it was guilty until proven innocent, and proving innocence was a Herculean task. The court relied heavily on spectral evidence, a controversial type of evidence based on dreams and visions. Accusers would claim to see the spectre or spirit of the witch tormenting them, an assertion that was impossible to refute. The number of accusations began to rise dramatically. Fear gripped the town as more and more people were accused of witchcraft. Mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, friends, and neighbors. No one was safe from the pointed finger of suspicion. The trials became a vortex, pulling in anyone unfortunate enough to be associated with the accused or to display any sign of deviance. As the trials progressed, the gallows loomed ominously, marking the grim fate that awaited those found guilty. The Salem Witch Trials were spiraling into a dark chapter of mass hysteria and injustice, a chapter that would leave a lasting stain on the pages of history. In the shadow of the gallows, 19 lives were claimed, victims of fear and suspicion. The executions during the Salem Witch Trials were a grim spectacle, a testament to the hysteria that had gripped the town. Among the condemned were 14 women and 5 men, all hanged after being found guilty of witchcraft. One case stands out amid these tragic tales, that of Giles Corey. A prosperous farmer and full member of the church, Corey refused to enter a plea when accused of witchcraft. His silence was a defiance, an act of resistance against the court's authority. In a brutal attempt to extract a plea, Corey was subjected to peine forte et dure, a form of torture where heavy stones were placed upon his chest. Yet even under such unbearable pressure, Corey remained resolute, his last words reputedly a demand for more weight. His grim determination in the face of death became a symbol of resistance against the trials. The tide began to turn as the trials stretched on. Governor William Phips, stirred into action by the increasing public disquiet and the accusation of his own wife, intervened. He disbanded the Court of Oyer and Terminer, the special court established to hear the witchcraft cases, replacing it with a superior court. This new court marked a significant shift, discrediting the spectral evidence that had been a cornerstone of the previous trials. The spectral evidence, testimonies of accusers claiming to see the spirits of the witches afflicting them, had been a key factor in the convictions. Its discrediting marked the beginning of the end for the trials. By May of the following year, the remaining accused were either pardoned or found not guilty, bringing an end to the witch hunt that had consumed Salem. While the trials ended, the echoes of the Salem Witch Trials reverberated through history, a chilling reminder of the destructive power of fear and superstition. The lessons from Salem continue to resonate today, a stark warning against the perils of mass hysteria and the importance of fair and just legal proceedings. The Salem Witch Trials, a dark chapter in history, served as a cautionary tale. Starting with mysterious afflictions that befell a handful of young girls in Salem, Massachusetts, the events spiraled into a whirlwind of fear and paranoia in the late 17th century. The widespread panic led to an escalation of accusations, with over 200 people denounced as witches, their trials held under the heavy pall of suspicion and fear. The aftermath of the trials was equally harrowing. 20 innocent lives were lost. The community left in tatters, its trust ruptured. But it also brought about significant changes in future legal proceedings, emphasizing the importance of evidence and the right to legal representation. These trials have an enduring cultural significance, appearing frequently in literature and popular culture, serving as a stark reminder of the dangers of mass hysteria and the potential for injustice when fear overrules reason. In the annals of history, the Salem Witch Trials stand as a stark reminder of the dangers of hysteria and the importance of rationality and justice.